Good evening, I'm 14 First Alert meteorologist Arden Gregory, and this is the First Alert weather show that we do every night here at 9 p.m. I'm just getting the Facebook Live video pulled up here so I can see everyone's comments. Good evening, Laura, Brayton, and Angie. Appreciate you guys tuning in from Dawson Springs, Henderson, and Vincennes. Good evening, Cheyenne. Let's talk a little bit about what we've got going on here, because first of all, we have alert days on the board. Monday and Tuesday both are going to be dangerously hot and humid, although I do think Monday will be the worst of it. We're still going to be on the brink of that danger zone Tuesday afternoon too. In addition to this first alert weather day, there's a very isolated threat that you could maybe see a strong to severe storm on Monday as well. It's a low level threat, but it is something to keep a very close eye on here. Let's start with the heat though. First of all, there is a huge section of the country. I mean, from the Canadian border all the way down into the deep south here, we have heat advisories, extreme heat warnings, all kinds of heat alerts here, and it stops just short of the tri-state. We're not under a heat alert just yet because a lot of those alerts are for people who are on alert for heat tomorrow. Tomorrow will be warmer than today, but the dangerous heat doesn't really kick in until Monday. So we're not under any heat alerts yet, but I'm thinking sometime tomorrow we'll probably see at least a heat advisory, if not an extreme heat warning, expanded into the tri-state for Monday, and it'll probably include Tuesday as well. So we don't have that just yet, but we are anticipating that we will get some kind of heat advisory or heat warning as we get into at least Monday, if not Tuesday as well. We had a little very spotty rain earlier, but we are dry across the tri-state right now. We've even got a bit of a break in the clouds in many locations. We will see partly to mostly cloudy skies for the rest of the night. I wouldn't rule out a little mist or drizzle, but I really think we'll probably stay dry tonight and throughout the day tomorrow. It's going to be partly to mostly cloudy, but still looking dry. Now by Sunday evening, it does seem like there may be some thunderstorms, mainly off to our west. We'll have to keep an eye on if any of those can manage to reach into the tri-state. It'll depend on the exact track they take. We're talking about storms that are currently all the way up in, I think, South Dakota right now. So it's going to take them, they're going to kind of make their way across the Midwest as we go through tonight and tomorrow. So if we're off by just a few miles here on the exact path they'll take, we could get some thunderstorms here in the tri-state Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, but right now it looks like most of that is going to stay to our west. We may see some isolated showers and storms though overnight Sunday night. Now Monday morning, this looks dramatically different from what we had earlier. If you watched 14 News at 6, it was showing this huge, scary looking line of storms just bowed out and rushing through the tri-state Monday morning. Now it has much more spotty thunderstorms and shows them weakening very rapidly as they push into the tri-state. So that just shows you, this is the same model, by the way, just two different runs of it. So the models are still struggling to get a handle on exactly how Monday will play out. But one thing that is consistent is there is at least a chance of thunderstorms Monday morning that will probably taper off by about lunchtime. Monday afternoon looks just miserably hot. I don't think we'll have storms to worry about. Then there's another more isolated chance, again mainly to our west, of an isolated shower or thunderstorm Monday evening. Then we'll dry things out as we get into Monday night. So we're still seeing a chance of storms Monday morning and again Monday evening. What exactly those storms will look like, that is changing every time we get new data. So the models are still trying to figure that out. There's still a lot of uncertainty of exactly what those storm chances on Monday will look like. But there is at least the potential that we could see an isolated strong to severe storm. Notice much of the tri-state, especially the northern half, sitting at this level 1 risk for isolated severe storms. And specifically, I'm concerned about heavy rain and damaging wind gusts, especially if, like the model was showing earlier this afternoon and evening, if you got a set of storms that kind of lined up and bowed out, that's where you would get pretty concerned about damaging winds. So again, we may end up getting nothing more than a little rain on Monday, but there's the possibility, if things come together just right, we could end up with an isolated strong to maybe even severe storm, mainly Monday morning. And that would mainly be for heavy rain and a damaging wind threat. I'm not seeing a major hail or tornado threat from this, but we could maybe see heavy rain and strong winds within those thunderstorms on Monday. The better chance of severe weather will be northeast of the tri-state. So I really think we're going to dodge the worst of it on Monday, but depending on how exactly things play out, an isolated strong to severe storm, certainly a possibility on Monday. I'm not as confident in the storm chances as I am the temperatures. It is definitely going to be steamy to start this week. Today felt great. It did not feel like late July out there today. We were expecting it to be warmer than it was by just a few degrees. The clouds never really broke today. It stayed cloudy all day long. We never got any sunshine to kind of warm us up, and so we didn't make it very far today. Right now, our temperatures are sitting in the mid-70s in most locations, at 75 in Evansville and Owensboro, but I want to point something out. Our dew points are also in the 70s, sitting at 73 in Evansville, 75 in Owensboro. You may have noticed the temperature and the dew point match in Owensboro. That's very important because when your temperature and your dew point are the same, that means the air becomes saturated. And at that point, you end up with fog. So many of you are probably seeing some fog starting to develop just within the past hour or so. It's not really dense or widespread just yet, but visibility is a little limited right now in Mount Carmel, Huntingburg, Owensboro, Madisonville, Lewisport. I saw some fog in Henderson as I was driving in earlier this evening, so we are expecting more of that fog to develop as we go through the rest of the night, especially anytime after about midnight or 1 a.m. I think that fog may end up getting pretty thick, pretty widespread, and it'll then be with us through the rest of the night and into Sunday morning, probably up through about 7 or 8 a.m. So if you're going to be out early on Sunday, you may want to give yourself a little extra time to get where you're going first thing in the morning, because you may have to drive a little slower due to limited visibility due to that fog. So just something to keep in mind. If you're going to be out late tonight or early tomorrow morning, there's a good chance you will see some fog along the way. Once the sun gets overhead, that fog will start to burn away as our temperatures start to climb. But since it may still be partly to mostly cloudy, we may not have a lot of direct sunshine to help with that. So it may take a little while for that fog to burn away, but just please be aware of that as we go through the night tonight. Our temperatures will drop back to right around 70 degrees tonight under partly cloudy skies, but I do think we'll see patchy, dense fog kind of scattered across much of the tri-state as we go through the night tonight. Let's check in on the comments here. Suzanne had some rain in Morganfield. Yeah, we had rain kind of on and off throughout the day today across much of the tri-state. Bill Vowles is saying he sees haze in Owensboro that kind of looks like smoke. It's a good chance it's some of that fog, Bill. Good evening, Jeanette, Zach, Adam, Ricky, Barbara, Nancy. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Let's talk a little bit more about those temperatures, because tonight is going to be pretty mild, but tomorrow we start climbing back into the upper 80s, maybe even low 90s. Just depends on how much sunshine we get. It'll be partly to mostly cloudy, but there will be at least some peaks of sunshine. Tomorrow we'll probably climb into the upper 80s. We may even hit the low 90s. That is more typical for this time of year, right? It's going to feel more like you would expect for late July. When you factor in the humidity, it is going to feel a little warmer than that. Now here's our temperatures through the next 7 days. I want to show you this, and then I want to talk about how hot it's actually going to feel, because those two things are not the same. They may be pretty dramatically different on some days. So notice we do have some ups and downs here, right? Tomorrow, upper 80s, maybe 90, pretty close to normal for this time of year. Few degrees warmer. Monday, Tuesday, we're looking low to mid 90s, and then we cool off just a bit, just a few degrees back into the upper 80s from Wednesday through the end of the week, right? So obviously Monday and Tuesday are a little hotter, but it doesn't seem like a real dramatic change. I want to point out though, the humidity may be pretty dramatically different. So earlier this week we had that cold front move through on Tuesday. That nice refreshing air moved in. Man, it felt great Thursday into Friday. Then Friday night into Saturday, that humidity started to creep back in, right? And it's a little muggy out there today. Even though our temperatures still weren't bad, you can feel that humidity in the air, and that's part of why we have fog tonight. There's so much moisture in the atmosphere that it's becoming saturated very quickly, and we have that fog. Notice we're going to be way up here at the top of the range, back into that kind of stifling, miserable, I mean almost air you can wear kind of humidity as we go through Monday and then into Tuesday. Notice though, Tuesday we see another one of those dramatic drops in the humidity. So keep in mind the temperature change from Monday and Tuesday to Wednesday and Thursday may only be a few degrees, but the humidity change is going to make a huge difference in how it actually feels out there. So tomorrow we're looking at highs upper 80s to around 90, heat index upper 90s to maybe low triple digits, right? Kind of typical late July heat. These are the dog days of summer, right? Monday, those temperatures climb into the low to mid 90s, but it is going to be so humid on Monday that the heat index could get as high as 110 to maybe even 115 in some locations. That's why I'm saying we're going to end up in at least a heat advisory, maybe even an extreme heat warning on Monday, because it is going to be well into that danger zone where if you're not taking the proper precautions, you could easily end up with heat exhaustion or even heat stroke Monday afternoon. By Tuesday, that humidity starting to drop, right? So we see some improvement, but still, I think we'll see at the hottest time of the day a heat index up around 103 to 106. Anything 105 or higher is considered that danger zone. So again, Tuesday, not as miserable as Monday, but still could be dangerously hot if you're not taking the proper precautions. Wednesday, the actual temperature only drops 3 or 4 degrees, but the feels like temperature may drop 10 or more because that humidity makes such a difference that when the humidity drops, it feels so much cooler to your body, and your risk of heat-related illnesses drops so dramatically as well. I just realized this rolled over on me. So that is actually the map for Monday when we've got this major risk of heat-related illness. It goes with that 114 there. Then kind of in a moderate risk for heat-related illness on Tuesday. Then from Wednesday on, we really kind of pull back out of that risk of heat-related illnesses, and we're down to just kind of normal summertime heat. Obviously, in the middle of July, act with some sense. In the middle of the afternoon, it's going to be hot out there, but it shouldn't be anything that takes you by surprise, as that's the kind of heat we're used to dealing with here in the summer, right? We'll have highs in the upper 80s, heat index probably in the low 90s, very manageable for us. Monday and Tuesday, though, those are the days that I'm really concerned, especially on Monday. It is going to be just so miserably hot, that kind of humidity where it's almost hard to breathe. That's going to make a comeback on Monday. And in addition to that, we might even have a few isolated thunderstorms, maybe even a severe storm Monday morning or Monday evening. So just be very aware of that, please. All right, checking in on the comments again here. Let me find my place. Yeah, William says that there's fog out by New Harmony right now. Sam asking about boating at Patoka Lake. I don't really know which day you're referencing there, Sam. Tomorrow, I think you'd be fine if you're wanting to get it done this weekend. Just keep an eye that, there may be that isolated chance for storms by Sunday evening, but I think most of it's going to stay to our west. So just keep an eye on the sky, keep an eye on the radar in case that changes. But I think tomorrow is an okay day. If you need to get outside and do something tomorrow, it's going to be hot, but it's going to be like normal July heat. So, just drink water and listen to your body. If you start to get overheated, move into the air conditioning, take a break, but I think tomorrow is just kind of a typical July day. Monday's the day it's going to be really just dangerously hot, and I think depending on the exact time that cold front moves through and that humidity drops on Tuesday, Tuesday could end up being another dangerously hot day as well. Then that cooler air, that cooler but more importantly less humid air really doesn't kick in until Wednesday. You're welcome, Bill. Zach, concerned about thunderstorms in Evansville on Monday. Again, it's an isolated chance. There's still a lot of uncertainty about how those storms play out. So again, kind of the same advice where you just want to keep an eye on things, keep an eye on the radar, keep an eye on the sky, be paying attention. We send updates out throughout the day. So obviously, as those storms are moving in on Monday, we'll be here tracking them and letting you know what we can expect. They may end up being severe when they get to the tri-state. They may weaken out by the time they get to us. Really uncertain, but I will say the farther to the north, northeast you are, the better chance you have of seeing some strong to severe storms on Monday. Yes, Cheyenne liking the temps after Tuesday. Yeah, really nice through here. I mean, it's still going to be hot, but like I said, this time of year, that's to be expected. That's no real surprise. Mostly sunny Wednesday and Thursday. Start to see a few more clouds Friday and Saturday, but not bad at all. Temperatures in the upper 80s. Feels like in the low 90s, so a few degrees warmer than it actually is, but for this time of year, that humidity is very manageable. Karen, I don't know what time the rain will start in Morganfield Monday morning. It may never even get to you. I would guess it would be probably sometime more like mid to late morning, probably closer to 9, maybe 10 a.m. But again, there's a lot of uncertainty, and it's very possible. I mean, it's an isolated chance. It's very possible it won't even rain in Morganfield on Monday. So we won't really know until we get closer to time. And honestly, we won't know for sure until those storms have developed and are moving in. We're talking about weather that doesn't exist yet. So until it actually develops and starts moving and we can kind of track its movements, that's when you really get a clearer picture of exactly how things are going to play out. You're welcome, Sam. Glad I could help. And yes, Tabitha, I think a lot of people are ready for fall, especially after the heat waves we have had so far this July. Speaking of heat waves, let's throw it in rewind for a minute and talk about 1934. On this date in weather history, July 25th, 1934, the morning low temperature, not the high, the morning low temperature for this date in Evansville was 82 degrees. That's as cool as it got on this date in 1934, was 82 degrees. That tied the record for the warmest low temperature on this date, and 82 degrees is also the warmest morning low on record for the city of Evansville, period. That is a very, very warm night to have it never even get lower than 82. Especially in the 1930s, you know, not exactly sleeping in air conditioning at that time. The afternoon high, by the way, after starting the day at just 82 degrees, by the afternoon they climbed to 103, also setting another record. So they had a record warm morning low and a record hot afternoon high, both on this date in 1934. We tied that record of 103, by the way, in 2012 when we went through the July heat wave then. So by comparison, this July doesn't really look too bad, does it? Today was actually the coolest day this month. Like I said, we were expecting to get into about 80 today, but the clouds never broke. We never got that sunshine, and so we just held steady in the 70s. We did have a long stretch of 90s from the 14th to the 21st there, a full week of 90s. Y'all will remember Tuesday. Man, it was miserable out there Tuesday. Humidity so thick I felt like I couldn't even breathe on Tuesday. And then that cold front moved through. We dodged the worst of that cold front. In fact, it never even rained in Evansville. We did get some isolated showers and even some severe thunderstorms in other parts of the tri-state. And just outside of here in Grayson County, Kentucky, they had a tornado Tuesday night. But we really just reaped the benefits of that cold front and saw that beautiful break in the heat and humidity. It's really been pretty comfortable out there the past few days. Even though today was the coolest day of the week, I think Thursday was actually the nicest because it had the lowest humidity. Today, even though it was not terribly hot, you could kind of feel that sticky feeling in the air, right, as that humidity started to creep back in. We did get a little bit of rain earlier today, about 1/10 of an inch in Evansville. That official total had not factored in yet when I did my July stats, so that does need to go up to 0.85 now. Not a major change. We're still going to be nearly 3 inches short on rainfall for the month and about 3.5 inches of rain short for the year. Our average temperature still about a degree warmer than normal for July. We've had these big swings this July, right? It's either been really hot or it has not even felt like July. It's been so cool. We haven't had a lot of just kind of typical July days here recently. And so it's kind of been canceling each other out, the extreme warmth versus the cooler days like what we've had here recently. All in all, our temperatures won't be too far off the average over the next 7 days. Like I said, we do have that warm up Monday, Tuesday, but more than the heat, the humidity is really going to be the problem. That's what's going to make it feel so much hotter than it actually is. And it's so hard on your body when it's that humid. Your natural ability to regulate your temperature just starts to shut down in that kind of humidity. Your body cannot cope. So that's why that humidity makes such a difference in how hot it actually feels. And so then Middle and end of this week, we see a slight dip in the temperatures, right? Upper 80s. That's not too far off from the average of 89, but the humidity will come down some. And so that's going to make a world of difference. In the extended outlook then, as we get into the start of August, August 2nd through August 8th does show wetter weather down to our southeast. Here at home, pretty even chances we may or may not see some rain. It would be kind of typical early August weather. The temperatures, though, are trending slightly above average, and this is already a pretty hot time of year. So above average oftentimes can turn into dangerously hot pretty easily. And we are actually, if you look here at this map, this is the hazards. Notice this kind of orangish red color here that encompasses the tri-state and many areas off to our west. That is a slight risk for extreme heat, and specifically the tri-state is outlooked for a slight risk of extreme heat Tuesday, August 4th to Wednesday, August 5th. So that is something we'll be monitoring very closely as we get into next week. It does seem like while our temperatures will be kind of pretty typical all the way through next weekend, Saturday, maybe even Sunday, Monday, it does seem like temperatures will start to trend back up as we get into early, not this next week, but the next week, right? We're into August now. Stay with me. All the way into August there, we could see temperatures maybe climbing back into those low to maybe mid 90s, get a little humidity in there. We could end up with some more alert days for heat the following week as we get into Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So that's more than a whole week away. I'm just kind of giving you a heads up. These are the things that we're constantly tracking. We're always looking ahead, but I do want to keep the focus on the more immediate concerns, which is the next 3 days here. Tomorrow, again, partly to mostly cloudy. We might catch an isolated shower or storm mainly on the western end of the tri-state Sunday evening, but I think most of the rain is probably going to miss us. Overnight tonight, the most immediate concern is there is fog developing as we speak. And so late tonight into early tomorrow morning, we may have patchy, dense fog across much of the tri-state. So if you're going to be out late tonight or early tomorrow morning, take it nice and slow, give yourself plenty of time to get where you're going. And if you do get into some fog, use your low beams, not your brights. Take things nice and slow. Don't be in a rush. Don't be tailgating because you're not going to be able to see very far in front of the car ahead of you, right? So if they have to brake quickly, you may not see that coming, right? Give everybody space and take things slow, especially in this kind of fog. Tomorrow, otherwise, not terribly eventful. It will be warmer than today. Every day is warmer than today. It was the coolest day so far this month. But we do start to see that more typical July warmth along with the humidity creeping back in tomorrow. Then Monday and Tuesday is when that heat just hits its stride. It is going to be miserably hot out there on Monday, and that even lingers over into Tuesday. Tuesday won't be as bad, but it's still going to be awfully steamy out there. And in addition to that heat, there is this isolated chance of some thunderstorms, mainly Monday morning and Monday evening. Monday morning looks like our best chance at thunderstorms, but even that is an isolated shot, not a guarantee. If we were to get any severe thunderstorms on Monday, it would be heavy rain and gusty winds that we're concerned about with that. Cold front passes through Tuesday. Not real eventful. It's not going to bring us much in the way of rain or thunderstorms, but it's going to drop that humidity, and that is going to make a world of difference with highs in the upper 80s and a heat index only a few degrees warmer than that in the low 90s then as we go through the second half of next week. All right. Laura, also ready for fall. You're welcome, Karen. Yes, Sam, good reminder. Obviously, I'm telling everyone to take care of themselves, right? Drink lots of water, take breaks, listen to your body. Check on your pets too. If you've got outdoor pets, this heat can be brutal and even dangerous or deadly if they're not well taken care of. So make sure they've got cool, fresh water. Make sure you're doing everything you can to keep them cool and provide them some relief from this heat as well. Take care of your fur babies out there. And yes, Sam, it's hard on the kids and the elderly too. So make sure everybody's air conditioning is working properly, that they're drinking water. Oftentimes, kids and the elderly both are bad to not pay attention to how much water they're drinking through the course of the day. They need somebody else to be keeping up with that and reminding them. So just make sure you take care of the people in your life, okay? You're welcome, Nancy. Yeah, Justin, sometimes you almost hope you get one of those thunderstorms just because it'll cool you off. That might be where we're all at by the time we get through the day on Monday. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions in the comments, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'll have another look at your forecast on 14 News tonight at 10, and Emma Beck is on the news desk tonight. She's working on all of your latest news headlines right now, so I hope you'll join us tonight at 10, and Chief Meteorologist Jeff Lyons will have your forecast tomorrow afternoon and evening, so I hope you'll join him for more updates then. Everybody have a great rest of your night and a great rest of your weekend.